Hey guys, what's going on? It's Christo here, and today I bring you part 2 of our Best PC Parts of the Year series. So we're now a month into 2019, and it's time to take a moment to look back on where we have come during 2018. There have been numerous amazing parts released, and if you look at a build guide from the beginning of 2018 and one now, they really are quite different. I also have Jake joining us, just as we did last year, to help with some of the voiceovers, so be ready for that. Without further ado, let's get into last year's best parts. For the processor, I chose the $250 Ryzen 7 2700. For one thing, the CPU can be compared to last year's previous Ryzen 7 1700, however there are a few key benefits. The second generation Ryzen series was made off the 12nm process instead of the 14nm. This smaller size equates to better overall efficiency and, you guessed it, better single-core performance. This was the main caveat of last year's Ryzen 7 1700. Unoverclocked, its single-core speed just wasn't all that great, so purchasing for certain games without overclocking may not have been the best decision. However, with the better IPC and 200 MHz higher stock clock speeds, the CPU is better for games, and still standing, 8 cores and 16 threads makes it amazing for multi-threaded workloads such as rendering.
Hey guys, Jake here, and for the air cooler, Chris chose the $35 Cooler Master Hyper 212 Black Edition. This is the successor to the Hyper 212 Evo and Hyper 212X, possibly the most popular air cooler used to date. For one thing, just as the previous coolers listed, it does a really good job cooling for its price. It would be an excellent replacement for someone who simply wants to replace their stock cooler, whether they want a little more overclocking headroom or just overall better temps. Moving into liquid cooling, Chris chose the $110 Corsair H100i Pro. This cooler definitely costs a pretty penny. However, it is a worthy successor to the H100i V2, which just so happens to be possibly the most used liquid AIO cooler. It costs around the same price as the H100i V2 did, however it has a few new features that sets it apart. For one thing, it has the new Asetek Gen 6 pump. This doesn't really mean all that much cooling wise, but however, it does add that good RGB functionality that everyone has come to know and love. The largest difference is the fans that it comes with. If there was one thing wrong with the H100i V2, it was that it came with rather depressing fans for the cooler. However, the H100i Pro comes with Corsair's magnetic levitation fans, allowing for significantly better temps in most situations.
For the motherboard, I chose the $80 ASRock B450M Pro 4. Once again, it is simply unbeaten value. Unlike a lot of other really cheap motherboards, it has a full 4 DIMM slots for RAM upgradability, which is super important if you want to initially run dual channel for Ryzen, but still want to be able to easily upgrade it later on. Most importantly, however, is the rather large VRM heatsinks. I saw some B450 boards released with no VRM heatsinks, which terrified me, and many other boards just throw on huge slabs of metal. However, this board uses solid heatsinks with actual fins for increased surface area, making the cooling, actually work, which led me to this choice. For memory, there wasn't all that much released this year since it has been quite a while since a new memory standard was released, the current one being DDR4. However, Kingston released a new DDR4 module called HyperX Predator RGB. It goes up to rather high speeds of greater than 3200 MHz, with rather good timings as well, and has a rather thin yet stylish heatsink including that RGB lighting. Prices will vary based on which kit you get.
For the best storage drive, we would recommend the 250GB Samsung 970 EVO. This is a $75 drive that runs at full NVMe speeds, getting close to 3000 megabytes per second. What's best about this drive is that within the course of the year, SSDs have gotten a lot cheaper. Just a year ago, a drive like this would cost well over $100. However, now you can get the benefit of super fast boot up and loading times at this reasonable price point.
For the best graphics card in 2018, I chose the RX 590. Now, don't get me wrong, this is a great 1080p card, and for the price point of $260, around the MSRP of the GTX 1060, it is quite a good value. However, this wasn't the main reason I'd say it was the best card released. See, the card being released allowed the price of the current RX 580 to drop a lot. That card went from around $250 or $260 to under $200. Essentially, the greatest benefit from this card being released was the previous card getting a price decrease. So those were my top picks of the best PC parts of 2018 for the budget. I didn't include a power supply because, to be honest, most of the units I recommend, such as the Seasonic Focus Gold and EVGA G3 series, were all released in 2017. Let me know in the comments if you agree, or whether you have any other top picks. Also remember to check out Christo, the official King Christo Tech Discord server. There is a link to it in the description below. Without further ado, this is King Christo signing off, and peace out.